Hello. So, various general life updates. I'm feeling progressively better. So, I think finally talking about the stuff that had happened with Emily. I believe that was last journey update. Was it episode 7 or episode 8? Whatever. My first live stream based update. That helped. That something that I've been struggling to navigate. And I think the more times that I talk about it, and especially that I can replay myself talking about it over and over, it helps with the processing. It is close to 3 a.m. mostly because I find that late at night is a time when nobody bothers me. So it's like the perfect time to like be alone with my thoughts. There's no like constant interruptions from family, which then derails whatever you were thinking about. Now the trouble is, I get a bit sleep deprived, which as I'm realizing I'm looking noticeably sleep deprived. But I was staying up late reading a book that I bought that was written by a therapist who rehabilitates other therapists who have gotten into, shall we just say, uh, sketchy situations with clients of the non-platonic nature. And she has a pretty compassionate approach. She says that yes, there are psychopathic predators. However, most therapists who end up in these situations are one-time transgressors, and rehabilitation is very much possible. I didn't file any kind of complaint against Emily. It was somewhat unconscionable, uh, given how punitive and adversarial that process is. A, B, that I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of, well, in that case, a bad faith complaint, but I mean, any kind of complaint is a bit traumatizing. I acted out in other ways, but I was not going to act out in that way. I made a promise to myself almost that no matter what happened, no matter how angry I felt, I was not going to go there. I was not going to go there. And yeah, so I have kept that promise. What else? I decided to write out some notes so I didn't get too derailed. Yeah, I did have a psychiatry visit at St. John's this morning. Um, wow, it's the advantage of the Indian healthcare system is that you can get seen pretty quickly. The disadvantage is quite. It was so noisy, uh, and there were like people kept wandering up to the door, and it's just. And the psychiatrist was very dismissive of some of the newer therapies. It seemed like ketamine therapy. He was like, no, there's no need. I'm like, wait. I mean, he said that we need to evaluate her further, but it seemed like he didn't even know about the schizoid personality, at least the you know more coherent descriptions of it. But in fairness, he was retired, so still, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like in India, um, people are very confident about the things that they say, uh, and the confidence level is not necessarily calibrated to how confident they should be, particularly if they're in like a teacher type profession. Certainly, I see teachers confidently saying things all the time that they didn't necessarily know. Um, and it kind of, between this person seeming confused by the way I was using the word schizoid, or having a lot of questions, hadn't heard of Dr. McWilliams's writings, even though she's supposedly a best-selling author. Um, I'm like, what is the point of going to this highly experienced person? I guess experience has its limits. You also have to be open to new ideas and reading about them. Anyway, I'm supposedly have another appointment, I guess today technically, and I'm at risk of being sleep deprived, which probably means that I'm going to have trouble describing everything in a way that, this guy was talking about, hospitalizing me because of the thing that happened with my dad several days ago. And I'm like, it's my ethical code prevents me from impulsively taking my life. And he was like, oh, we'll see. And I'm like, Oh God. It takes a lot of energy and patience to explain myself in a way that the other person understands. And when I'm tired, it's harder to do that. But fortunately, in India, your parents can accompany you to these visits and help with the talking. So I hope my mother will be able to help with that. It's a longer, hour-long visit, or I'll just have to get good at telling my story, or just force myself to tell it. It's just hard. It just sounds bizarre because the confluence of factors, right? This autism slash schizoid thing, um, being Indian and being a cultural transplant, and then being queer. The combination of all three, and yeah, it gets me into these weird. Then you have this weird spiritual breakthrough theme coming on top of it. So I bring out behaviors in people, it seems, extreme behaviors that they don't normally exhibit. And so my life sounds like it's full of all this weird trauma. And you start to wonder whether I am the problem. I am the problem, but it's actually the interaction between me and the rest of society that is causing the problem. Me interacting with people who were exactly like me, there would be no problem. We would understand each other perfectly. But oh well. So that's that. um, I spoke about having diminished sensation, and an exercise that I'd been exploring is sometimes while I'm hiding in my room or meditating. I take random opportunities to meditate, car drive or whatever. I can actually do it. People seem to think that with my level of trauma and suicidal ideation, my mind must be very busy. No, it's not like that. It's with all the spiritual breakthroughs, it's my mind actually, I mean, sometimes it's busy, but when it's busy, it's at the feeling level, right? All the conscious nonsense I've managed to disentangle, and now it's my subconscious that has feelings that it can't articulate. But um, I've been doing this exercise where I direct my attention inwards and like specifically in my chest area, which is when sensation starts to cut off. And I try to consciously relax the muscles that are kind of holding me tight around there. And with it, I notice that I start experiencing a lot of sensation, particularly sadness. I actually wonder if the role of all these tight muscles is to choke off the feeling of sadness, unprocessed sadness. But I find that it's been helpful. I increase the sensation. I get this onslaught of sadness, and I just kind of sit with it, and I think that helps bit by bit to chip it away. So that's been nice. And I guess the last. Oh, there's another thing. I have an appointment on Saturday. It's tomorrow at this Ayurveda treatment center. It's going to be a series of 10 appointments, and it includes acupuncture. So maybe my muscles will like temporarily for 10 days be very relaxed because pokey pokey. But I also got prescribed a bunch of Ayurveda things, including this Ashwagandharishtam. I have to take 3 tablespoons of this morning and night. It doesn't taste that great. It's like fermented. What am I doing even? But yeah, I'm taking now like 3 Ayurvedic herbs, including Brahmi, this, and something else, Yogaraj. Oof. Um, so there's that. We'll see if anything happens. If anything, I'm being placebo affected into the sensation of wellness, right? Something about the way Indian doctors will just prescribe things, and then you feel like a bad student if you don't do it. So now I'm doing it, even though I'm like, what the? I'm chugging this fermented thing. Seriously, I have to like pause after every gulp as it. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and then a kind of crazy update. So there's this professor of Indian philosophy at a local college, RV College. Her name is Dr. Meera Baindur. She's a friend of my mom's, and I met with her. And the crazy story about her is that she has actually studied. She's had like the closest thing to real life spiritual education in that she's actually studied with like saints in the Himalayas for like 7 years. And she also has like a PhD from like the regular system. Anyway, so she's like this badass professor of Indian philosophy and teaches these history classes at this place called RV College. And I wanted to take some of her classes, and so we were like, oh, should she like apply to be a student at your college so she can take the classes with you. And then she's like, no. First she thought maybe a research assistant, but then she realized I could apply to be visiting faculty. So she's asked me to send her resume, and she says, yeah, you'll have to teach a course. It might have 200 students. That will also be an experience in India, overpopulation, she joked. But you can then sit in the back of my classes, and if you're visiting faculty, no one will bother you. And she says apparently with like my resume, and my PhD from Stanford and all that, a place like the one she's teaching at would happily snap me up. That's exciting, but we'll see. I don't know what to do about all these social media videos. Like, actually, the crazy stuff that happened with my dad, it might sound normal compared to the stuff that happens in other Indian families. We're very we we stay together despite the extremes because our government is dysfunctional. So there's literally no safety net. So family stays together, I guess. I have that speculation, but that's why our families have like such extreme behaviors that we just like, that's just the way it is. Oh boy. But yeah, if I do, that's an appealing option. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty excited about the thought of collaborating with her. I've been reading some of the ideas on classical Indian philosophy and relating to a lot of it, because it's exactly the kind of stuff I spend my time thinking about. So I'd happily sit with her and see if some of those ideas actually have parallels in the modern context. Sometimes when she's describing it, I'm like, it sounds a lot like how data scientists model the world. I mean, I could see certain parallels, right? The idea of emergent phenomena, for example. Um, yeah, it's like clustering almost at higher level patterns emerging. But if I do take her up on that option, it would mean officially not going back to the US. I'd have to probably renounce my STEM OPT if I take up a job in India. And it might mean officially closing out the student emigration record in the US. So if I want to go back to the US, it would have to be on a totally different type of visa. But it does really excite me. The idea of working at a random tech company doesn't excite me, but the idea of teaching and then collaborating and doing something totally different, like Indian philosophy and history, um, it does give me a bit of hope. Well, we'll see what I do about these videos. I may just change my name, so that I'm not obviously easy to Google, maybe, or at least I'm putting some effort to distance my professional identity from whatever this is. But okay, so that's it for the general life updates. And now I promised to do these tarot readings, but I'm not going to lie. One of the reasons I was procrastinating on these readings is, I described in that last update why I do these readings. It's like so interlinked with events that happen surrounding like the really messy separation, termination, abrupt termination with Emily. That's my former therapist. And the stuff that came out in the reading with Claudia that I just did on a whim almost. But yeah, I mean, I think that's so a part of me doesn't want to know the answer, right? Because a part of me just wants to, honestly, a part of me just wants to move on and forget it happened and just go back to what my life was supposed to be before that thing kind of shook my world. Well, I mean, I obviously want to retain the learnings, and I appreciate the insight I had into how like you can just be occupying two orthogonal information realities, and that totally changes your perception of the situation. And both perceptions are arguably valid. Some might agree with the information reality better, but I mean, humans aren't computers. They don't always integrate all the information perfectly. But if I don't want to know the answer, then why am I asking the question? Is what comes to mind, right? This is the trouble with when the spiritual intersects with the personal. It's, do you even want to know the truth? I mean, on some level, yes, I do want to know the truth. I do want to know if there was something else that could help explain why it went down the way it did. right? Why it was so. It's a tempting explanation for both sides, right? I get to say that this wasn't representative of normal people. It was representative of someone that you had this allegedly past life energy connection with. And she gets to say that whatever it was I was picking up wasn't just totally in my head. I was picking up on something, just not something that was in the client's conscious awareness. Oh, right. So the question is, I don't even want to know if we'll end up together. I think that's the part that I don't like being told stuff about my future that I have conflicted feelings about. I kind of just want to know if there was past life energy, I guess, from a previous marriage allegedly. And I did make an up. I have, on my Flickr lethal teapot. I'm like randomly up, taking pictures of the occasional readings and putting them up. And I did refine my categorization. Uh, so I think I should just do a few of these to see how I feel about the categorization, like beta test the categorization. Um, which I'm not gonna bore you with the details of the categorization. I did it. I took a picture of it. I uploaded the picture, so it's like timestamped, and I'm documenting all the revisions to my categorization of what I'm interpreting as a yes, what I'm interpreting as a no. Uh, I guess if I changed the question, right? Previously, the question is what will happen with Emily, and so then there were like some outcomes that were yes, some outcomes that were no. I think I can just keep that categorization and tell the spirit guides, if they're listening, that right now I'm just asking about the question of whether there was that past life energy, like just kind of validating the reading with Claudia, and we'll see what kind of cards come. And I think, should I do a proper 10 card spread? That might be fun. I think I'm in the mood for a 10 card spread. Normally I wouldn't have the energy, especially this late, but you can see how I do my 10 card spreads. All right. So I'm documenting that I'm very tired. I might affect the reading, but what I do is I draw the 10 cards, and sometimes I will see this card is making me a little bit nervous. So I just kind of randomly take cards, and I try to find one where I don't get a spike of nervousness. Of course, the spike of nervousness could be from doing this on camera, but we'll see. This one feels a bit more secure, so I'm going to keep this card. And this will be the 10th card, since I'm going to go like top to bottom when I'm reading them. Sure, that one. I'm nervous, but I don't know where the nervousness is coming from. I don't feel a great need to take that card off. As good as any. I just want to, let's just go ahead. I find that my overthinking doesn't always have a basis in any kind of spiritual reality, so I could just be making it up. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, felt a little bit of something there. Did I? No, I don't know. Well, yeah, it's slightly too much hesitant feedback. This one is feeling better. There's no special markings on the back of the cards, right? I'm just kind of going off a feeling. Or at least no special markings that I'm consciously aware of. Maybe my subconscious can tell the difference between the backs of the cards. In fact, sometimes when I keep drawing the same card in a reading, I wonder if that's what my subconscious is doing. It's like, you just like this card because you know what it is somehow. But then sometimes I cut the deck and I'll be drawing the cards that way, and I'm like, there's no way my subconscious is keeping track of the shuffle order of these cards. So let's go with the spirit guides explanation of spirit guides are controlling my body movements on small levels. Okay, wait, now how many cards did I draw? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 10. No, I don't like that. Do I have 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No. Okay, so this card, this is the question card. And what is my question again? Was there a, now I have to be specific. Was there, what did Claudia use the phrase twin flame energy to refer to a past life connection that's kind of like has this romantic energy? What was there romantic energy from a past life connection with Emily? This one felt secure. All right, these are the cards for the readings. I'm putting them away. All right, we'll do the 10 card spread, and I'll explain what each card is as I do it. Okay. I'll deal with this pile of cards later. All right. First card represents the question. It's a check card. Nice thing about the 10 card spread is that you get these checks, right? So, question. It's funny. This card did come up in the past spot when I did in the last reading I did about Emily, which I took a picture of and uploaded. When I read the description of this card, it did feel like it represented the past situations that had happened with Emily, because it's all about, you know, just you have to navigate a tricky situation with kindness and forgiveness, and it felt like I found myself summoning a fair bit of that. You know, you could say I went on that euphoric spiritual breakthrough as an alternative to anger. So I guess in that sense, sure. I mean, I recognize this card from a previous reading. That's why I'm like, okay, I can see why this card represents my question. I guess I could quickly read out the description as well. Card 11 from the Major Arcana. Major Arcana represents stages in a spiritual journey, major stages in a spiritual journey. So that's what the purple is. Purple is Major Arcana card. 11, you have great strength and compassion. The kindness and understanding that you give to others are a blessed gift. However, it's equally important to show gentleness with, okay, whatever. Yeah. Self-confidence, patience, self-control, forgiveness, inner strength, influence through kindness. It's very sweet. It's a sweet message, right? It's you are far stronger than you may believe. The situation you find yourself in requires a very soft and sensitive approach. Yeah. It is by balancing all aspects of yourself with love and mercy that you learn. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Next question. Next card represents the forces crossing the situation, right? So for the most part, these tarot spreads kind of give an overview of the forces or the dynamics influencing the situations, or they at least jog your introspection about it. Forces crossing the moon, representing illusion. The opportunity to improve your plans, listen to your intuition for accurate guidance, face your fears, and grow stronger. Interesting. Sure, you can always say the moon is crossing the situation because the moon represents illusion. I mean, yes, who isn't faced with an illusion challenge? At the same time, I think I had put this card in the no category when categorizing how I'd feel about cards if they came up in the context of readings about Emily. So yeah, I guess this conflict, right? Is it all an illusion? Is the interpretation, you could say. Is the force crossing my question? Is it all an illusion? It's time. The description says it's time to review your plans. Something just isn't quite right, and your angels and guides are lovingly bringing this to your attention. Yeah, I mean, it's a sticky situation. The great news is that your psychic and intuitive abilities are heightened. Listen to your intuition and your sleeping dreams for guidance as to how to make revisions. I've not had a lot of dreams about her. I did have a dream about where I was like raising a child, and I know the implication was that I was raising a child with her. And I just remember coming down the stairs in this hypothetical house, and there was this cardboard box full of toys, just kind of the chaos of raising children. And I remember I woke up around that time, and I remember feeling, damn, I want the chaos of raising. Like I want to have a box in the house that's just like kids' toys, and be like, oh, where's like your little bat, Oh, we find your bat. Yeah, I kind of just want that chaos. Probably triggered by seeing my dad's young colleagues bring their little toddler over. She's so cute. We just spent the entire visit watching her. um, it is human to have moments where you feel worried or uncertain. This card is meant to reassure you uh, by facing your fears and so forth. Okay. Um, the next card that I tend to flip over is the card that I place here, and I've come to interpret it as the forces that are kind of at the basis of the situation, tying it all together. And this card represents the forces kind of leading or guiding the situation right now, crowning the situation. The way I think of it is like if your life is a ship, these are the engines, and these are like the steering. I know this card has been described as the present, but across readings I did for people, these two cards seem to just be like the forces guiding the ship, because they would often parallel each other, which is why I like decided to lay this down and lay this down next, which is an unconventional ordering, but it felt right. So I've been revising the tradition of tarot along the way. All right. Forces at the base of the situation. Nine of Raphael. I literally drew exactly this card for this position, I think, the last time that I did a reading on this. So it's really weird to draw it twice in the same place. I'm pretty sure of that, right? I mean, I can check right now. I have the image of the last spread that I did. I actually recorded that too, but then I'm like, no, it's so shameful to I have. At least I took a picture. I've been diligent about that, right? You got to at least log the data as far as you can. As diligent as my patience will allow, I guess. So where was yes, indeed. So this was the last spread that I did. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, same card in the base forces basing the situation, and in the past spot was the strength card. So you can see that over there. So it's kind of uncanny that both those cards came up and this card came up in the same damn spot. All right. Forces helming the situation. Two of Ariel. It's important to have balance, working multiple jobs or projects at once. All right. Yeah. I have a lot of plans going on. Okay. And I guess I'm romantically conflicted about where to invest my efforts. Like the logical part of me is like, move on, just you made sense of it. Now you can let it go, and but yeah, I hmm. And yeah, I think I'd categorize this card as a no card. At least I should have. If I didn't, well, I certainly think of that card as a no card. Nobody wants to be told they're overextending themselves. All right. Recent past relevant to the situation, another check card. Page of Gabriel. So when representing a person, it's somebody who's energetic, brave, optimistic, playful. I'm not optimistic. But when describing a situation, it's follow your passion. You're ready for any challenge, opportunities for excitement and adventure. Well, that's kind of broad. Pages are messenger cards. Gabriel's the deck of creativity. So yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, a lot of creative energy came with the spiritual breakthrough. So in that sense, you could say it's sure. And so, like, part of how I read these spreads is this situation in the past gave rise to this force crossing you in the present. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing the spirit of this one. So I'll also pull up Gabriel's the deck of creativity change. In Elemental Tarot, it would be the fire deck. Raphael is emotion or water. Ariel is material or earth. The material world or earth, like so resources and energy. And Michael, which hasn't come up yet, is the blue that would represent air in elemental tarot. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Well, Gabriel, Page of Gabriel. You're ready to follow your passion, opportunities for excitement and adventure. This is something you're prepared for, blah, blah, blah. When a person, it's an energetic, extroverted person who's exuberant, additional meanings, career advancement, taking a chance, confidence, embracing life. Okay. I mean, many cards could describe it. It's not the least resonant, but okay. Near future, as predicted by the deck. 9 of Michael. Your worry is unnecessary. Focus your thoughts on the outcome of your desire. Release feelings of regret, guilt, or worry to your angels. I think it's telling me to move on. That's how I would interpret it. Cool. Cool. All right. But that wasn't my question. My question was, did I have a past life connection with her? I don't really know how to interpret this to get an answer to that. But we'll just see. We'll just see what comes out. I'll look at the final outcome spot for a final answer on that. And if it's a yes card, I'll interpret that as yes, there was a past life connection. I don't know. No, but I'm kind of interpreting this as like a what's my future gonna hold as well. So maybe I have to think carefully about how to answer that question. But now you see what my tarot spreads end up looking and feeling like. All right. This card represents your power in the situation. 5 of Raphael. Oh, shit. That's a breakup card. Everything happens for a reason. Release regret and embrace the opportunities for happiness. Search for the silver lining. It's very much echoing the theme of this card, which is like release your worry, release your worry. That's another thing that I've noticed happens, right? Sometimes in a particular spread, multiple cards are sending the same message. This one's also like have balance. Cool. All right. Influence of others in the situation. That's what this card is. We have the 5 of Gabriel, a challenge you can resolve, withdraw from the drama of others, have patience with yourself and those around you. That patience theme is coming up. It's also in the strength card, right? It's strength and grace through kindness. Not patience per se. Okay. This card says, this card is the forces at the base. It's make a wish, dreams become reality, a joyful time of life. Okay. Joyful time of life. All right, this is supposed to represent my hopes and fears in the situation. And this one is King of Ariel. Successful, stable, accomplished, powerful. Your plans are working out very well. Professional and financial success using resources wisely. I will say I've been struggling with a bit of an identity crisis after having broken free from the academic situation that was my primary source of validation for most of my life. So yeah, sure, this is representing a hope of mine that has nothing to do with romance, which I thought was roughly the theme of my question. But I guess I just wasn't sure what my question was. And it just kind of I just got a spread back that I guess is a general guidance spread. I mean, my question was posed in a way where I hadn't specified how I would interpret the answer. So I can't fault the spirit guides for being like, I don't know what she wants to hear in this 10 card spread. We'll just do a regular 10 card spread. All right, final outcome, moment of truth. Let's see. Change your life. A sudden revelation that offers freedom, break free of procrastination, embrace the opportunities that change begins. Okay, I think it's just like a very, very strong move on kind of message. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Is that message is in this card, messages in this card, messages in this card. Just kind of move on. Change your life, Av. Okay. Well, since it's in the final outcome spot, I will read card 16 of the major arcana. I think I'd categorize that again, but I didn't ask the question about what my future with her would hold. I just kind of did a spread because I felt like it. It's time to change your life. This card represents a need to leave behind old belief systems and ways of doing things that have become stale and out of date. Very apt card for everything that I'm doing right now. When this card presents itself, the universe is telling you that you can no longer procrastinate on making the changes that you know in your own heart you need to make. Suddenly, everything is crystal clear to you. Change is inevitable if you're to grow and evolve. Embrace this new direction in your life as liberating and exciting. Cool. You needn't go through this transformation alone. Anyway, additional meanings are yeah, the line where I trailed off was Archangel Chamuel can help you find the new path and meaning in your life that you long for. I'm like, I don't want to read that line. That makes me sound all woo-wooey. Additional meanings, awakening, a sudden revelation that offers freedom, unexpected transformations, life experiences. It's like, be free, child. Don't torture yourself. And at the end of the day, that's all I cared about, right? I don't necessarily care about whether there was a past life connection. I kind of just want to be free. And this deck is kind of telling me to be free. All right. So take a picture as usual, upload to Flickr as per logging, and think more carefully before I ask a question of a tarot deck next time. And yeah, figure out. Clearly need to think harder about which question I'm asking and how to get a p-value out of it. Because I don't necessarily want to keep asking about Emily. I do kind of just want to move on. All right. Thank you for joining me.